into the game of the day. That would be number 1 Tennessee versus number 1 Georgia, or excuse me, AP versus CFP, but you get what I'm saying, right? The Georgia Bulldogs looked at the college football playoff rankings and frankly yours truly and said, oh, that's your king. That's your king? Cool. They got to come to Sanford now. And look at them getting it in. We got the mailman out here absolutely running away from Tennessee Volunteers and putting on the Jets and then getting up and calling up, dialing them up in the end zone at Sanford. My favorite thing is Stetson Bennett feeling himself at Sanford. And then you got this punt, which I swear there have never been more tweets about a punt than this one. Goes 75 yards into the coffin corner. I'm like, guys, it's a punt. It's a punt. But what followed after this gargantuan punt that took an awesome bounce to get inside the one is what we're really here to talk about, right? You had Hendon Hooker dead to rights. He fumbled the football. We got an offensive lineman fall on the football. It looks like a safety to me. His whole body was down inside. And yet, no. We got officials that be like, nah, we got it fumbled to the 1 or to the half-yard line. Sure you do. But the point was made. The Georgia Bulldogs come out in this game and said, no, we're just going to man up. And if you can beat us over the top, fine. But while you're at it, we're going to have Stetson Bennett loading up to throw it deep to Ladd McConkey. We got to walk on throwing TD passes to a 2-star wide receiver in games that matter. And then we got the walk-on throwing over the top of Tennessee defenders into the back end zone. Look at this, man. Oh, my goodness. Look, for those of y'all that can't see it on the podcast, my man went up with 2 hands, brought it down in front of the end zone after Stetson Bennett threw it wherever he could catch it. It's an opportunity for me to say Kirby Smart has built his reputation on recruiting dudes that are better than your dudes, all right? So, way I look at this, yes, the location is a major factor, right? Sanford holds 93,000 fans, probably 92.5, we got to think, are those dudes that were wearing red and chanting "Go Dogs." And I've been out to Sanford. It's rough. It's rough if you're not the home team. And that's because those folks in Athens take it very seriously. Look, I'm also over here looking at Georgia as the number 1 team in the country on Tuesday. I don't think there's going to be any consternation about that, nor should there be, because they have the best win in all of football. If we're getting really honest about it, they might have the best 2 wins in the sport if you think about what Oregon has been doing since their 49-3 drubbing by the Georgia Bulldogs. Now, does Georgia have the 2 best wins? Yes, but does Hendon Hooker's performance merit a Heisman contender? All right, so I got some ways of looking at this. Oh, wait a second. I got to reference this on the screen for the folks on the podcast. My man Eric Ainge went out here and said, playing between the hedges is overrated. Not that loud and definitely not intimidating. It's nothing like playing in Nayland. Balls will be just fine in Athens. Sir, would you like to have something to say on Saturday? Turns out, yes, Eric Ainge would say he had something else to say. He learned his lesson. The tweet reads, "Stadium was lit. Georgia played lights out. Great win for them and their fans. I was wrong. Great win for UGA." And then he had a frowny face and he said good night. Yes, I'm sure that Eric Ainge's mentions on the Twitters are not at all fun. For those of y'all that don't know, Eric Ainge is former Tennessee volunteer quarterback. So that it rates, right? It rates for the show, but it also rates for the sport. But back to Hendon Hooker, who's also, well, not just a Tennessee volunteer quarterback, but could have been a Heisman winner had this game gone in his direction. It just did not. 23 of 33, 195, and an INT. He's thrown 3 interceptions since November 13th of last year. 2 of them are to Georgia. And the one that he threw in this game, frankly, ain't his fault. Keely Ringo decided, no, I've had enough of Cedric Tillman eating me up. You're going to put that ball up and you're going to try to take it over my head. No, I'm going to turn into Willie Mays and basket catch in between the hands of Cedric Tillman. Outstanding play by the hero of the national championship game just January earlier this year. Add to this, Keely Ringo hadn't had another interception since that interception in the national championship game. Big game, Keely Ringo showing out for Saguaro out there in Arizona. I got to tell you, man, I did a podcast interview with Keely back when, I want to say it was like 4 years ago. The dude still looked like an outside linebacker to me, and that's what they got playing corner out there, because those are the dudes that Kirby Smart has. Kirby Smart has done a great job of putting his whole DNA, his blood, into this program, because I got the feeling in this game that they won 27-13, that it could have been 47-13, that it could have been 47-6, frankly, because Tennessee didn't score a TD until the fourth quarter. It's that they would rather sit on your chest, step on your neck, and strangle you defensively for an entire half of football, rather than let the offense have any fun. It's as if the offense exists to be a good grad assistant to the defense. And as I tried to tell y'all in the lead up to this game and how I was going, I don't think this is going to be a game for Georgia. What happens when the unstoppable force meets the immovable object? What happens when a sports car hits a rock, hits a boulder? It gets torn in half, dog. This is a Tennessee offense that was putting up 49 points per game, drawing favorable comparisons to 2019 LSU's offense, which is ridiculous. I mean, those offense. And then Georgia said, no. We get up for the big game, all right? We don't care nothing about no Kent State. We don't care nothing about no Missouri. We only care about when we are being challenged as, oh, are we good? Because we're back to what I was saying after Georgia beat the hell out of Oregon. That's the best team in college football, or so it seems, with just 4 weeks left to go in the regular season. Stetson Bennett's Heisman campaign took a really big bump this year. I was actually having this conversation early with producer Kat and producer Tyler about where Stetson Bennett rates, because I got him at number 5, and I felt like I had some other people that I could put there when I put out my Heisman list. Well, turns out Stetson Bennett's going to move up. Hendon Hooker's going to move down, because that's the way these things work. We got to give the Heisman, or we got to list a Heisman from Georgia, and we're not just going to put the entire defense from Georgia on the Heisman list. I would do it, but I don't get to vote, and I don't get a vote like that. So we're going to have to point to the mailman, who is turning 29 or whatever, maybe 47, who also is, I kid you not, a spokesman for AARP on our Heisman ballots, and we're going to have to be serious about it come the second week of November. That's ridiculous. And also, just a ridiculous performance by that Georgia defensive front. They were without Nolan Smith, who was their leader and captain on defense, and it didn't look like they missed him. If you are Tennessee, feel good about what you have done. You're not out of the college football playoff. Still, you have a chance here. There are some things, because you needed carnage after this bad loss to Georgia, and you got it. Clemson took an L, right? Alabama took an L. You can still ride the Alabama train of being, the best one-loss team that everybody thinks there is without a conference championship, but you also need a little bit more carnage to happen, specifically in a place called the Big 12. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.